Hey, it's Shireen, and welcome back. I am a business coach and a success coach, and this is your space as Christian entrepreneurs and professionals to talk and chat about the things that we go through. So, we want to talk about, I do that every time. We want to talk about letting go of control, right? And it's human nature to want to have control over everything, over every aspect of your life, right? Your business life, your spiritual life, your relationships. I just feel like it's human nature to want to have control over everything, right? And of course, the problem with that is we tend to then want to micromanage every aspect of our lives, right? Which can, of course, become a problem. So if you are spending time with God, if you are building that relationship, right, you should, God talks to you, you should be seeing the vision, the version of yourself that you should be, right? Or you are striving to become, right? You kind of know by now, or not, you might be still working on it, the goals, right? Or where you want to go, all of that stuff. And we have a goal in mind, which is a wonderful thing, right? If you know your purpose, you know what you were made to do, you have a goal in mind, right? You have that, but along the way, we still want to control, right? And that is not our place. And that sounds hard because, again, it's human nature to want to control everything, right? To know everything that's going to happen. We want to know at every step of the way, everything, every way that we turn, we want to know what's going to happen next. But it is not, it's not our job to know what's going to happen next. And I want us to think about, me included, when you hire someone to do a job, right? You tell them the goal in mind. You tell them what you need to be done, right? What you want to be done, the goal, the vision, right? You pay them, and then that's it, right? You pay them, and then they deliver on what you have asked for, right? That's usually how this works, right? When you are hiring someone to do something, right? You tell them what you need. You don't usually go into specifics, right? Or tell someone how to do their job in order to get to the destination that you want them to get to, right? Right? You are building a house, right? You say, this is the goal. This is what I want. This is how I want it to look, right? Then the person that you have now hired has said, okay, I can get that done, right? They do not go over every single specific detail in order for you to tell you that. They just don't tell you that, right? They say, yes, I can have this done by this date, right? It will be all good. That's usually how it works. You do not run behind them every step of the way. You are not there 24/7 over their shoulder telling them how to do their job. You are not doing that. And if you are definitely a control freak, right? That is not something that you do because you are not the one. You're not an expert in this arena, right? Right. It's not up to you, right? You have the goal in mind. You have the vision, right? You were given the vision, but you don't know all the specifics, right? You hired this person, if we're still going with this example, you hired this person, right? Most likely because there was evidence that they can get it done. Most likely that's why you hired this person. There was testimonials, right? There was something that made you hire this person because there was evidence. And the same thing goes with God, right? There is evidence throughout your life that He has done some incredible things. There is evidence that He gets you out of some situations, right, that you should have never been in, right? There is evidence that it's going to be okay. There is evidence that He can take you to those goals, right? But we have this way of wanting to know and control every single detail, right? Every single detail. So He shows you the vision and you're like, all right, that means I have to do this. I have to do that. I'm going to take this path over here. So I have to do it this way, right? Before consulting the person who gave you the vision in the first place, right? It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense. He's the only person who has the evidence, right? He's the only person who knows all the details, right? And honestly, He's not going to always tell you all the details. He's going to guide you, right? He's going to show you, just like a contractor would. You're building a house, right? Certain times He's going to show you, oh, this is what we got. This is what we've been doing so far, right? But you're still not there all the time. You still don't know all the inner details, all the work that had to go into that for all of it to take place. You don't know every single detail. There's still guidance support there. They're still showing up and saying, hey, this is what we've done thus far, right? But you're not involved in everything. And that's what we have to realize within our lives. Like, you don't know everything. Only God does, right? And some things He will show you. And some things you're going to have to be comfortable in that waiting. You are going to have to be comfortable in that, right? So, John 11:5, right? We are talking about when Lazarus was sick. So John 11:5 says, so although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, He stayed where He was for the next 2 days. Finally, He said to His disciples, let's go back to Judea, right? So you're saying in this story, Lazarus is sick. This is not a cold sick. He's sick. He is very sick, right? And yet, Jesus is staying where He is for 2 more days, right? Do you think it's because He doesn't care? Of course not, right? Lazarus was His friend. Of course He cared, right? So why did that happen? Why did that happen? He knew that Lazarus would be okay. He has the evidence. He knows what He can do. He knows the outcome, right? So why would He get so flustered and stressed? And why would He think, oh, I gotta rush over there, right? When He already knows what's gonna happen. He already knows the outcome. He already knows what's gonna happen to Lazarus, right? Mary and Martha are freaking out. Because why are they freaking out? They can't see what He sees, just like we can't see what God sees, right? In this instance, they couldn't see the outcome. All they could see is that He's sick. He's on His deathbed. He's sick, right? And you're not doing anything, Jesus. You're lingering here for 2 more days, right? And I'm saying sometimes God does show us the outcome sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't, right? But instead of wanting to control every part of the situation, of stressing out and freaking out, right? Recognize that he's the only person who has the evidence of what's going to happen. He's the only person who truly knows everything about the outcome and the path to get there. He's the only person, right? And getting comfortable with that notion, being comfortable with that idea that there may be waiting involved, right? That there may be waiting involved in this, but that's okay. That is very much okay, right? So it even actually goes a little bit further to say in John 11:11, then he said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up, right? And then the disciples thought he meant he's actually sleeping, but Jesus meant that Lazarus is already dead, right? And he says in verse 15, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there, for now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him. Now you will really believe, which is interesting because if Jesus had gone there right at the moment they had said to go, your friend is sick, you got to get over there, he's gonna die, right? Would have healed him. That would have been the end of the story, right? Instead, since Jesus already knew the outcome, right? He waited there for a bit longer, and then he says, now you're really going to see what I can do. Now you are really going to believe what I can do, which is confirmation in our situation that things are going to happen, right? Things are going to happen beyond our control, very much beyond our control. Things are going to happen, but understand and believe that this is all, he knows the outcome, right? No matter what, you are going to be realigned and you're going to be repositioned to where you are supposed to go. It is not always the path that you think is the right one. Definitely not. Which is why I said sometimes we don't consult God about the things that we are going to do, right? God, you told me that I would blow up as a preacher, as an author. You told me, right, as a business owner, that this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, I am going to go here. I'm going to go try to get that opportunity. That looks right. I'm going to go this route, right? And sometimes God may be saying, yeah, that's what I want you to do. But the route is probably not what you think. Oh wait, you probably need to learn a little bit more before you get over there. Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you this way. I'm gonna throw this in your path, right? You need to wait a few more years, a few more months before that outcome, right? I need you to wait a little bit longer. I need to put you through some things so you can grow, right? And then when you get there, now you will really believe when you get there, right? So, to let go of control, number one, I think we have to surrender. Number one, I think we have to surrender, which is complete acceptance, being content in every circumstance, which sounds difficult, right? Because not all circumstances are pleasant. Being content in every circumstance, but believing that your faith will bring you through, right? So surrendering and being okay with the waiting, surrendering and being okay with your circumstance, no matter what your circumstance are, right? And number 2 is stop being attached. I tell clients that all the time. I tell my clients, my business clients, stop being attached to everything. Stop being attached to outcomes, right? Everything is not going to go in the way you think it's going to go, right? But that is okay, because it is realigning you to what you are supposed to do, right? Right? We always think it's the straight path to where we're supposed to get when it's really like this, right? And you got to go through all of those mountains and valleys to get to where you're going, right? Stop being attached to time frames and outcomes. And I want to make this amount of money by the time I'm 20. I want to be married. How many of us said that? I want to be married by the time I am 25, right? And we are attached to those things. And I want to say it is okay to have goals. I'm all for goals. I am all for God showing me the vision and the best version of myself and me trying to get there. It is okay to have those things, but being attached to those outcomes, and if it doesn't happen by that time frame, and if it doesn't happen, that somehow means something about myself. That somehow means that I was undeserving. That means that I didn't do enough. Like, oh, it's God's fault that I didn't get this, right? That starts to take form in your mind. So not being attached to the outcome and to every single detail that you think needs to happen in a certain time frame, right? That is important. Just stop. Stop, because you make it mean something that it doesn't mean, right? And the last one is question it, right? Question it. All control is rooted in fear, right? We fear something there, right? If I don't put dinner in at exactly 7, we're not gonna have dinner ready on time. I'm gonna have to order out. I'm trying to save. I'm gonna have to spend way more money than I want to. We're gonna eventually go broke. I mean, it sounds silly, but all of those thoughts starts going in your head, and it starts to domino effect into something else, right? It sounds rudimentary, but it can happen, right? But question it. Is this actually true? If I don't get dinner in at this time, does that really mean that we are going to starve? Or does that really mean that I am going to have to order out continuously? Or does that really mean those things, right? So to question what you're thinking, right? It's all based off of fear, right? If I don't put this out there at this particular time, if I don't launch this business, if I launch this business and it fails, right? That means I'm not good at what I do. That means I'm never going to get anywhere. That means I'm still gonna be stuck here where I'm at in this season, right? All of these things that go through our minds. And, you know, again, it's rooted in fear. Because if something doesn't go the way that we want it to go, we somehow make it mean something about ourselves, right? And you always challenge the idea, challenge it, question it. Is that actually true? Is this actually true? If you get down to the root of it, it's not. It's just not, right? So we have to start to understand and to recognize when we are getting lost, and when we are thinking to ourselves that we have to control every aspect of our lives. It was never meant to be so, right? He does give you a vision, and he gives you goals, and you talk to him and you pray to him and you build that relationship with him, right? But you are not meant to control every aspect, because you are not the creator. He is, right? Okay. All right.